Hey YouTubers, I wanted to do a little voiceover action so you get a little bit of information on what I'm doing here. Basically shortening the yoke from the rear output of a 4x4 Chevy Trailblazer. Turns out that is the same yoke and spline as a Turbo 400.
Right now everybody's asking me, what in the world are you doing to that yoke? Well, basically I am avoiding the added cost of having my drive shaft shortened 1 3/8 inches. Basically did a bunch of measuring, did a bunch of research, found out the yoke that they use on the Chevy Trailblazer 4-wheel drive that comes out of the transfer case is the same yoke you use on a Turbo 400. So I was trying to get this thing lined out so that I could hopefully use my current drive shaft that I had built back at Midwest, oh God, several years ago when I very first V8 swapped the S10 Blazer. Lo and behold, it was too long, a 47-inch center to center. I needed a 46 1/8 center to center. That's with no slip yoke clearance. Okay, really you want your slip yoke to have between a 1/2 inch to 1 full inch of clearance so that it doesn't bottom out on the input or output shaft of the transmission during articulation of your differential. The leaf spring rear suspension yoke and pinion go up and down, like they articulate. That's why you set a negative pinion angle, then under load it comes up, then when you decelerate or coast, so your pinion's actually doing this throughout operation. So basically, to avoid your yoke bottoming out on the back of your output shaft on your transmission and causing damage to the case slugs, you insert problems here, you just always have a 1/2 inch to I think 1 full inch. I did see 2 references that say 3/4 inch to a full inch. So what I've done so far, and I could always amend this another 1/4 inch because you can see it doesn't take that long, is I have this longer snout Chevy Trailblazer yoke, and I've cut 1 inch 3/8. I cut a 1 3/8 inch off the end of this super long yoke that's longer than the yoke you would get if you bought one like for a muscle car or got a Turbo 400 yoke from Speedway, insert application there. This had a longer snout than the car non-truck, we're going to say the non-truck bolt-on setup. Those car slip yokes are shorter. Well, that allotted me, because this yoke is all the way back to here, so I can trim whatever I need to off the end to set my slip yoke clearance that allows your rear end to articulate without causing damage. So basically I just jumped right in here and then realized, hey, I need to put this on video, because there might be other people out there who need just a little bit different length to be able to use a current drive shaft they have. You never know. Alright guys, here's what I ended up with. Yoke from the output of a Trailblazer 4x4. When you get it, this snout is way long. Way longer than the normal car Turbo 400 yoke. So what I came up with was the drive shaft out of the S10 Blazer, 47 inches center to center, but I only had a free space, or what, when you measure from if you take this yoke with this material on it, seat it, measure center to center to the companion flange on the 8/8. I needed to cut this shorter, plus add, 3/4 inch, let's say, for slip yoke clearance so it doesn't bottom out, break the lugs off of my case or crack the case or anything goofy like that. And if you've got these long extended snout yokes, you can just cut them shorter which in turn does the same thing as shorten your drive shaft, only it's free. So that's always cool. And that I wanted to share with everybody is that when you're measuring underneath your vehicle, specifically by yourself, take a zip tie and zip tie around your yoke to locate properly the back side of that zip tie to half of your cap. You can literally hook your tape measure on your zip tie and measure to the other end, whether your stupid tape measure on there, and get a really accurate measurement even by yourself of what your drive shaft is center to center. So I just wanted to share that because I found that while I was trolling the internet looking for information about shortening these yokes. Basically all I did was just measure it, mark it. I just happen to have a T-bolt clamp over here in my hoard of junk. Used it to kind of give me a visual or limiting factor to make it fairly flat and square, and then basically used it on, cleaned it up on a grinder and a flap wheel to kind of true it up, clean up these insides. Before you cut your yoke, if you're going to try this, visually verify all of those splines go all the way to the end of that yoke, because you don't want to go chopping this off and then the yokes, the splines stop here, then you're ruining your yoke. So basically that's where I'm at, so I don't have to pay to have this shortened. All I gotta do now is do some research and get my conversion U-joints, because I'm gonna need a 1310 to 1330. Hopefully they have a readily available U-joint to make this conversion. So hopefully tomorrow we'll get the drive shaft put in the Blazer, and we'll be one more step close to getting her running. So anyway, that's my update for right now. I've got another video I've been working on that kind of encompasses doing the pre-oiling of the engine before I put it back in the car, and got a lot of footage just trying to make it all come together and make it somewhat understandable. So anyway, it's starting to get dark. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like, subscribe, and share.